So here's a question. I'm not going to put it up on the screen, but question: how do you deal with youth in leadership positions that don't do a whole lot? Do you have job descriptions for it, or kind of does the Scoutmaster help train them in what to do?
Well, I got a suggestion.
Okay.
The when they're trained from the unit, the troop does the training for the youth. So that actually has a job description for every position, even quartermaster, scribe, all that stuff. It has that built into it. So there are units out there that are struggling with getting the youth to participate in their positions. And that can be a bylaw per se of the unit. The unit can actually have that rule that you have to have so much participation. So, and that's fine. Of course, all of that's got to be approved through your chartered organization. So that's the caveat there. But that's something that can be done. So training for positions for the youth is done in the unit by the unit leaders. Of course, they can always go to NYLT, which is the National Youth Leadership Training. They don't go into the nitty gritty for each position, like a patrol leader and so on, but it's run as if it was a troop, a camp. So it has a scoutmaster and assistant scoutmasters and quartermasters and so on. So it's run that way. So they can actually see how it's done or how it's supposed to be done. And that's one of the big things with doing that national training. And you can also go to Philmont, I believe. They call it NAIL. That's another one. So, yeah. But that's my 2 cents on motivating. Don't they have cattle prods with a little sparky thing on the end?
That would be hazing. But
oh, darn! I knew there was a rule against that.
Yeah, so I actually ran into and as you are a leader, you evolve as you run across different situations and stuff. Yeah, I had a scout that joined our unit during COVID. And he was stuck at life. And the unit he was with was holding him from doing a Scoutmaster conference and board review for Eagle based off of the fact that the Scoutmaster said he hadn't fulfilled the requirements of the position, though he had been the chaplain aide for 3 years. And it got so bad that after, consulting the family and stuff as a third party, I told him, I said, here, if you join my unit, here's how I'm going to handle it. If you look at the requirement, it says you need to hold the position. It doesn't have any contingent on whether you perform the job or not. So for me,
you've heard that they would.
Right. So this is the first part. We took care of the youth and did what was right. I mean, that's my always focus. I may sound like a bad guy or a pain in the butt, but my first thing is advocate for the youth. Yeah. But it got me thinking, how could we have avoided this? Because I'll be honest with you, the youth was not exactly a go-getter. Yeah. But what I have learned over my years is when you set out clear expectations, and this goes for adults too.
True.
Then there's no argument on what the expectation was. And so, I kind of adopted a new approach. So I have a conversation as the Scoutmaster with my SPL, my ASPL, my quartermaster at appropriate times once they get the job, saying, you do understand these are the minimum expectations. Now, communicate with me and say, hey, I had something come up. We can deal with that a lot easier than you just ignoring it or not doing it. Make sure you talk to the SPL, keep the SPL informed. And if it's something that you don't feel comfortable going to a youth leader, that's why we have ASMs and Scoutmasters.
Right.
And so I think we've had really good response in some of the kids going, no, I don't want that responsibility. And can I get out of this? Well, you need to do something to gain rank advancement. But, you know.
Well,
So
one caveat I'd like to put on that is that particular position, what is it, chaplain's aide?
Yeah.
That's appointed by the scoutmaster. Now, if he did that for 3 years, that's 3 years of continuing
It was
appointment.
a personality conflict between the scoutmaster and the youth, and it was purely political. The scoutmaster leaned one way, the scout leaned another way, and this was an adult trying to make a point to a youth. So, I mean, there's a little more context to it, but yeah.
I'd say in positions of responsibility, of course, encourage the scouts to make the most of it, and scouts will get as much out as they put into it.
Yep.
Yeah.
There is, of course, we can't.
Of what you said there, I like job descriptions. That way there is no moving of the goalpost. That way there is no guesswork. That way there is no, well, I did this, but that's not what I expected you to do. When I'm doing job descriptions with volunteers inside of the district, when I hand them one, it's usually tailored specifically for them, because I've already had that discussion of what are we willing to do, what aren't you willing to do, how many hours can you actually volunteer, those kinds of things. So I'm trying to tailor specifically for them. I haven't been as diligent as I need to be on that, and I'm hoping in the next year I'm going to get better at that. But that's job descriptions, big fan of them. And then have a guaranteed time period that it ends. If it was 3 years, was he put in that position and then just kind of left there for the last 3 years, or was he?
Because then they hold each other accountable. They know they need to be kind and polite and such about it. But
that's in the job description too.
Well, but
Scout oath and Scout law is in there.
Yeah, but like Nathan was saying, the job descriptions are the bare minimum. You can add to that. And so, why does the Florida troop need to worry about winter gear for the troop? Whereas we might have winter gear stuff that needs to be added into that to be more specific. You'll take care of the snowshoes or, But I'd like to hear from our people here. I know we've got some questions.
Yeah, we got
some shout outs here. Very Smoky in Idaho.
Yeah.
Turn down the campfire there, Stan.
Shout out from Gulf Coast Council in Florida.
Yeah, I've been working with some scouts from
Gulf Coast.
Another shout out here. Did we make it to the Jamboree? No, none of us made it to the Jamboree this year.
No. I got
Matthew was moving. I was getting eye surgery, and Bucky was being Bucky.
Yeah. I knew that was coming.
Here's a quick one that'll get to a question that came just before it. Since most troops and packs do not meet on Sunday, it always feels like Sundays are a great time for the campfire. Maybe a little earlier.